everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking about Y the Last Man, Volume 3, One Small Step. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're going to be talking about Y the Last Man, One Small Step. This is Volume 3 in the old original trade paperbacks, and it's part of Book 2 if you're looking at the hardcovers or the larger trade paperbacks that are out now. This is the third story arc in Y the Last Man. Now, before we get to the review, let me please ask you to do one thing. Please subscribe. Helps me out, helps the channel grow, lets you know when I drop new videos, all that good stuff. So, Y the Last Man, One Small Step. I really like this storyline. It was a whole lot of fun. So basically, the gist of it is we're following up on the setup from the end of the last story arc, where we found out that there was 2 men and 1 woman floating above the Earth in the International Space Station, and they had to make it down to Earth. So this story is all about how those people do that and how it intersects with our heroes Yorick, 355, and Dr. Man, and also with Alter, the Israeli commander that's following Yorick and all that. So it's a pretty fun little storyline. This is contains issues 11 through 17, so the storyline is really like 11 through 15, and then 16 and 17 is this little weird 2-part side story about a theater troupe in this world where they're reenacting Shakespeare plays and stuff like that, and it's kind of a flip because back in Shakespeare's days when he was doing the plays, he had all male actors and they played all the roles, so you had male playing the female roles. Well, now it's the flip of that where it's all female actors because every Y chromosome being is dead other than Ampersand the monkey and Yorick. So they're doing that and they're making some money, and then eventually somehow Ampersand gets away from Yorick and meets up with this theater troupe, and then they find out he's a male monkey, and they get inspired to write their own version of Y the Last Man and basically like perform it for all the towns and stuff like that. So it's a fun little thing, and that actually is good because it gives Pia Guerra a little bit of a break. Those issues are drawn by it says Paul Chadwick here. I believe he's the artist in these last 2 issues. And what's nice too is that even though it's not Pia Guerra, you're not really feeling the everybody missing, because you have Jose Marzan Jr. doing the inks. This is the I think the first issue of it. Yeah, Act 1 of 2. It's a little 2-parter here. Beautiful covers by J.G. Jones. Again, beautiful covers. But yeah, they do a nice job of blending the styles, and I don't know if that's all the inker, if that's all Jose Marzan Jr., but the coloring style is basically the same. The Paul Chadwick's art style is pretty similar to Pia Guerra's. It's same Vertigo, like kind of the Fable style, kind of simplistic, easy to read, easy to follow, not overly detailed, not overly wacky, but just something that's, this is Pia Guerra here in the main storyline, but same color palette, same kind of look to blend in with the rest of the series. And that's really, I think, one of the strengths of this entire series is over the 60 issues when Pia Guerra does take a break, they find an artist that fits into that groove that she has so well established just in the first couple of volumes here, that you really don't notice that she's gone to take a break or whatever, or that people have holidays and fill-ins and stuff, and when it's all collected at the end of the day and Pia Guerra's doing like most of the issues, and you've got these little fill-ins that are like side stories at the end, you really don't notice anything. Unlike monthly comics, if you're reading it and they change artists in the middle of a story, then you start to notice it. But yeah, I mean, also honestly, like, this side story is totally skippable if you want, but I like the ideas in it, and I really had a fun time reading it, even though the only character in these 2 issues that we know is Ampersand the monkey. But it's a nice little exploration of other things that are going on in this world to let you know what the rest of the world is like, and that we're not just following our our trio here of Dr. Mann, Yorick, and 355. So I really like this storyline. I didn't talk much about the main thing, but yeah, you do find out we're cutting in between 355. This is Natalia. She is a Russian agent over from Russia, and she has made her way over to the middle of the country in the USA because she's figured out that's where the Soyuz craft, which they use as the escape craft, basically, is going to land, and she's going to bring back. And then one of the guys in the International Space Station is Russian, so she's going to try and bring him back to Russia if they do survive. So the other interesting thing is this is landing near a underground lab that's basically got like a clean room in it, so that if they do recover these astronauts and their suits are intact, they can take them down into the clean room and kind of live their lives out there, so they're not exposed to whatever virus or pathogen or whatever. We still don't know why all the men died in this world, so they think it's a virus or pathogen. So if their spacesuits are intact and they go down to the clean room or whatever, they will not be exposed, and they should be able to do all their research and repopulate humanity and things like that. So that's cool. So Alter comes in, and she is after. Look at this beautiful cover. This is a portion. The main. This is what's on the cover, but this is the whole thing. Alter is here to basically get Yorick at no other, if all else fails, she will get Yorick Brown. We do find out that Alter was working for Yorick's mom, and she is the one feeding her the information. She put a tracker in ampersand and is basically tracking all their movements that way. But even though the information's a little slow to get back to her, so that's why it seems Alter's pissed, because she's like, why is this information so old? What do you say? They may be there. They may be there. It's because it's old information, and this story takes place 20 years ago, before everybody was carrying around a little GPS thing in their pocket that recorded every photo and video you ever wanted also. But it's cool. There's a confrontation there. There's negotiations over who's going to get the astronauts. And Alter ultimately reveals her full motives. It's not to work for this congressman. She really wants to take Yorick back to Israel to use him as a tool to further Israel's place in the world and keep Israel stable, because that is her motivation, to keep her country stable at all costs. Whether it means the end of the human race or whatever, she's going to put Israel in the most powerful position, period. And that's basically her motivation. So it's a fun little story, and what's nice too is there's kind of a pretty good resolution here with Alter and her storyline as a threat to Yorick, so that we can move on and chop off one of those like dangling plot threads that we had from the first volume, and maybe introduce a new one, or further along the main story of what caused this mass death, basically. So Why the Last Man, again, one of the smartest books out there. You definitely owe it to yourself to read this if you haven't read it already. Really, really good book. Really beautiful, really wonderful. I'm excited to watch the TV show. It's out. Go check it out on Hulu now. They dropped the first 3 episodes on this past Monday. I have not watched them yet as of this recording, but my plan is to watch them all and at least do one video on those first 3 episodes for you guys, letting you know my thoughts. I honestly, just looking at, I peeked at the episode descriptions on Hulu this morning to see how fast are they moving, and it seems like if there's only 8 or 10 episodes, they're probably not going to get to this storyline, much less maybe the second storyline. Who knows? I don't know how fast. To me, I feel like you could move pretty fast. This would make a great 2 episode arc. It doesn't need to be 5 episodes. That's one of the things I think that TV shows, if they're doing adaptations, should learn from The Walking Dead's mistakes, where they took 6 issues and they made it 6 episodes, and it was oh my god, this does not need to be 6 episodes long, because you're just filling time. With this is definitely this could be a great 2-parter in the middle of a season, and I hope that Why the Last Man, if they do accelerate, or they get picked up for a second season, if they want to tell great stories, but don't take an entire season to tell one arc of the comic book, you'll never last that long. I feel like this Why the Last Man show. Haven't seen none of it. To say of its quality. I've seen some positive reviews on it. And I've seen some negative reviews on it. So I'm going in with middle expectations. Don't know whether I'm going to like it or love it or hate it. It could be that. It could be another MODOK for me. But I really hope that they just are like, all right, this is going to be like 3 or 4 seasons and we're out. Like, that's our story. We're going to tell it. Here's our beginning. Here's our middle. Here's our ending. And we're going to get out. But I don't know. Judged based on the first couple episode descriptions, didn't look like they had even set out of Washington, D.C. or Boston by the end of the 3rd episode, maybe the 4th. So if that's half the season, then I don't think we're going to get out of the first volume very quickly. But I hope that if we do end up leaving on this journey in the middle of the TV show, that we move a little bit quicker towards the main story and accelerate stuff. Because, this doesn't need to be 6 episodes, that's for sure. And like the thing about the theater company or whatever, the 2 issues at the end, that could be a great middle episode anyway, like a bottle episode to give your main characters a break and the actors a day off or a week off or whatever, and cast some new people to fill all these interesting roles and just follow the monkey around for a little bit. That never hurts, right? So I'm looking forward to that. So look forward to that review on the channel if it's not up before this video. But we will see you guys next time here in the Funny Pages.